not so far shy of 300,000 babies killed. The COP holds 12,500 people. Kenny Dalglish holds 12,000 people. That's 24,500 people. That is 40% of Anfield Stadium. If that was unborn people, only the people sat in the main stand and the Annie Road are surviving. Hello and welcome to the Off the Party Line podcast with me, your host, Mark Williams, joined as I am ever by my wonderful co-host, Mr. Peter Farrington. Peter, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing really well, Mark. How are you?
I'm well. It's good to have you back. You weren't here last time. You left me on my own.
I know. I was gutted to miss it. Yeah.
So,
it's one of those weird, 24-hour bugs, but we're back.
It was a very handy 24 hours, Peter, but, I managed to get there without you. It's great to have you back with me. We have got a video that we're going to react to today. So, Peter, this is a video that you sent to me, actually,
yes,
from the Evangelical Alliance. So they have, it seems, a podcast, maybe a selection of podcasts. This podcast is called Cross Section. I've never watched it before. Have you watched Cross Section before?
No, I'd never seen it before. I just popped up on my feed. So
the week's biggest news stories discussed by the Cross Section team. They unpack the rising discussion this week around banning social media for under 16s, the defections to reform, and what we're going to react to today is the reaction to the alarming rise in abortions as the statistics for 2023 had been released. So the question they're going to talk around is, are we talking about this enough in our churches? Spoiler alert. No. And how can we respond? Well, that's going to be our answer. We'll see what they say. But I don't know who these people are, actually. But they seem like a nice group of people. I don't know if this is their normal hosts, but we've got three people. They're going to be talking about the topic.
Yeah, well, this data came out a couple of weeks ago, right? So
yeah, I think it was mid-January it sort of came out, yeah.
Yeah. But it has caused quite a lot of outrage and shock for people across the board, from pro-life to pro-choice, which is interesting.
Very interesting.
I think they're going to get into this here.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, why don't we watch the clip and then we'll give our thoughts.
But I think that's one of the reasons we want to talk about this, plus this set of statistics that come out this week, delayed statistics. So, Alicia, do you want to fill us in on the kind of headline story that we're kind of discussing as we round things out?
Yes, so abortion statistics for England and Wales, published January 2026, although it's looking at the year of 23, so it is delayed. And just to kind of give the headlines of how horrific, and I will use that language because I think we the church need to grapple with the reality that abortion has for a long time remained in the shadows, where there is an assumption that abortion is not that prevalent, it's low numbers, and it impacts a very unique and specific section of society, when actually it's quite pervasive. And even though the law is being challenged at the moment, it's still unbelievably high. So here are the headlines that I think we need to reconcile with. In 2023, 277,970 abortions took place in England and Wales.
That is just a staggering number.
Not so far shy of 300,000 babies killed. That is an unbelievable number.
Yeah. And who knows what the numbers were like from last year, Like they said, this is all delayed, so it's a huge jump on the previous year, which I guess she's going to get into as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Highest since the Abortion Act was passed in 1967.
The highest since the Abortion Act in 1967. What were they saying in 1967? Safe, legal, and rare?
Yeah.
Oh, no. This has to be 2 doctors. You could never get past 2 doctors without it being proper.
Yeah.
Is this what you think they might have envisaged in 1967 when they put this act into place? Whether they did or not, they should have done. I find the conversation that we're having in the UK now around assisted.
Yeah.
Don't worry, everyone. It'll only be in the case.
It'll be different this time.
It'll be different this time.
Different.
Oh, these two doctors will be actual doctors, and they'll this is what really annoys me about that argument. Is it's all the same one, and you fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Right? They're using all the same playbook. Anyway, that's a bit of a side point, but 1967 was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And it's resulted in 2023, 300,000 babies being slaughtered.
11% increase from the year previously. That 11% in numbers is 26,593. The most dominant age or growth or increase is amongst 20 to 24-year-olds is where there's the highest number of abortions. But actually, it's above 30s. I think it's 30s and over has the most consistent growth of or increase of abortion statistics that takes place. 98% of abortions are funded by the NHS.
The darling of our country.
The envy of the world.
Yes, yeah. 98%.
The envy of the world, Pete, that no other country has copied.
Right, yeah.
But it's the envy of the world. The National Health Service, the taxpayer-funded state religion, sacrifices 300,000 babies to Molech in 2023.
Yeah.
That's what happened. So every day I was going to work and I was earning money and sending my taxes to the government, they were using it to slaughter the unborn.
It makes me think of a church meeting that I was at back last year, I think in the summer, and the guy speaking paused before saying this, and he was like, I'm not sure how this will go down, but he said the NHS is an inherently evil institution. And I was like, looking around.
Whoa.
But he was
Love
dead
it.
right. I mean, listen to those statistics and argue otherwise.
Exactly. I mean, as you know, we are not far away from our third child coming into the world, right? And I was reading some of these reports in preparation for this podcast, and I thought, we're going to go and give birth in a place that also slaughters babies.
Yeah.
How on earth do you square that? You go into a hospital where doctors who've taken the Hippocratic Oath.
Majority of abortions are happening between 2 and 9 weeks. And Caroline Ansell, who works for CARE, deep dived into the statistics. And here are some of the other figures. 3,205 disability selective abortions, 300 late-term abortions for babies with disabilities from 20 weeks onwards, and 735 babies with Down syndrome were aborted in those statistics. And so
So grim.
Where are the lovely progressives when people are slaughtering their disabled children?
Yeah.
So, Down syndrome, what was that, 730 something? By the way, there'll be people watching this who did not know that you can abort for disability up till birth.
Yeah, that's true.
The restrictions on however many weeks do not apply in those circumstances. Right? Did you know that?
Oh, that's harrowing.
Do you know what that involves at that point? Go and have a look. If you are going to support it, go and look at what that involves. And by the way, we'll have a look at what disability actually means in a bit, right? Now, there's what disability actually covers. And the other frightening thing is what our society is moving towards calling disabilities.
Yeah, that's true.
And what that might mean in the future. But come to that later.
The reality that abortion is very progressive, in both in practice and in reality. It impacts every layer of society. It's taking place on demand, even though it talks about Ground C as the most prominent kind of place where abortions take place. Abortions, that's anything before 24 weeks. And the statistics come out. I think the shock for me that really, as I was reading it, is that statistic is passed before the Prime Minister, the Secretary of State for Health and Social Care. It's passed amongst some of our senior medical experts within kind of the NHS world, and all of them see it and say nothing and think, how is it that 277,000 plus abortions take place in a year, and it's on the rise? And what's worse is that the church in its collective are powerless to speak into this place and say abortion doesn't work for women, and it doesn't work for the unborn, and it most definitely doesn't work for the progressive agenda around sex and sexuality in terms of...
I disagree on that point. Abortion is fantastic for the progressive agenda.
Of course it is.
It's an essential aspect of it. It's not like a bug. It's a feature of progressivism. It's like a sacrament of progressivism.
It's a central creed.
Yeah, you have to have it. If you're hoping to completely erode any distinctions between the sexes, you need more and more and more abortions. It's great for progressivism. It's fantastic.
Of course it is.
Yeah, everything else.
I also disagree. Well, I also disagree with their point around the church is powerless to stop it or say anything about it. No, it isn't.
Okay, yeah. I missed that.
No, it isn't. Why is the church powerless? The church is unwilling.
Yeah.
Oh, the church is unwilling. The Church of England is unwilling. The Church of England has political power. Like it or not, there are bishops from the Church of England who sit in the legislative chamber. Okay? They sit in the House of Lords. What do you mean they're powerless? The church isn't powerless. It chooses not to wield its power.
Mm. Yeah.
And given the horrendous views of the soon-to-be new Archbishop of Canterbury, well, if she's actually selected, by the way, that's actually not in the bag just yet. Sarah Mullally, Queen of the Lanyards, because of some abuse cover-up stuff that apparently she was involved in, allegedly. But why has the Church of England not got power? It chooses not to. And now I'm ragging on the Church of England. What's the wider church doing about it?
Oh, yeah, it's not just the Church of England. Yeah.
And there are no consequences. I think the church needs to lean in theologically, but also practically, that there are people in your pews that are struggling with the decision of possibly having an abortion, and the church doesn't know how to theologically speak into that space, but equally post support and care for people that may have come to faith and had a decision of abortion, and they themselves are having to reconcile with the ongoing either mental or physical health implications of that. So it needs to come out of the shadows and into the light for us.
Absolutely right. That's exactly what needs to happen. We need to be talking about this. We need to be talking about it, and talking about it a lot more, not only in society but in the church. Absolutely, people need to be counselled through these sorts of things. Absolutely, people need to theologically understand what sins they may have committed in the past before they've turned to Christ.
Well, and if we're going to preach the gospel, and if we're going to say that Christ came to save us from our sins, and yet refrain from ever speaking clearly and frankly about the sins that are most prevalent and most destructive in our society, held most dear in our culture, it's like we're always going to be holding people back from the fullness of the joy and the freedom of the gospel itself.
Absolutely.
So
right.
it's a before anything else, it's a theological issue.
Yep.
To really grapple with this and to actually conceive of a society where abortions do not take place on this.
That's bold, and I like it.
Yeah,
we need to conceive of a society. Some squishy evangelicals have a tendency to just go, maybe we can reduce, maybe we can bring it down. Kudos to her. She does not seem to be a squishy evangelical.
Yeah.
We need to imagine a society where abortions do not take place.
Yeah. Needs to be abolished, needs to be criminalized.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Scale.
100% agree. I think it's always worth restating that we are a massive outlier in the UK in the timeline that we allow this up to 24 weeks and now essentially decriminalized up to birth. Like, we are the crazy outlier. What we think is normal in a culture that you're raised in, particularly in GB, as in the mainland here, because Northern Ireland was different, is now aligned, sadly. But it's, so we are a matter, like 12 weeks is the kind of standard in most other countries if you're going to have this at all. And again, our numbers keep going up, and it's the 11% rise for me. I find all the numbers staggering, but that it's just going up. So
it's a point that needs to be made all the time, especially to anyone in Great Britain and Northern Ireland, is that we are a massive outlier. We are way, way, way liberal on this. 20 weeks, 24 weeks is atrociously far along. Atrociously far along. In that window, there are viable babies who can live if they're delivered.
Like 21 weeks, it happens.
Of course it does, and happens more and more, right? The idea that we are somehow oppressive, quote unquote, on abortion is ridiculous. Most of Europe, where they have incredibly progressive views, again, quote unquote, of all these things, are at 12 weeks, because they could quite clearly see that there is a real shift at that point. We're not going to argue for that because we believe in life is a conception. It just is. And 12 weeks, in the grand scheme of things, is as arbitrary as 24. But it's a completely different kettle of fish. And people just don't realise what a 20-week baby even looks like or is. They still imagine it's like tiny. It's the statistics are mind-blowing, Pete.
Yeah, they really are. We have just got to get over ourselves and face up to the fact that we've allowed this to happen.
Of course.
And for so long just have not spoken with the prophetic voice that we should have as Christians in the church. We're reading through the Old Testament at the moment, right?
Yes.
So I think we talked about this a few weeks ago on the podcast, but we're reading the entire Bible through January and February. And
go and watch episode 8 and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but it's struck me so many times just how there is nothing new under the sun. I read Ecclesiastes a couple of days ago, right?
Absolutely.
And it's just the same thing. And the only difference between us and the Israelites in the desert is, or in Canaan, is that we have just developed. We've invented stuff. We've got new technologies. We've developed a whole load of different ways to commit the same sins.
Correct.
We've just got before us just a much wider variety of tools with which to do exactly the same things. And in the past, I've read parts of the Old Testament and been like, oh, those Israelites were just so stupid, so foolish, so primitive and uncivilized, and like, I would never have done that. I would never have knelt down before a bronze calf that I'd made with my own hands. I think a lot of us do actually kind of think like, no, we'd never have done that. We'd never have done that. And then here we are in 2006 saying abortion is healthcare.
Exactly.
Like it's so idiotic. It's so foolish. But this is nothing new. It's absolutely nothing new. It's just dressed up the same. Like you said before, it's sacrificing your children, but we just don't do it to a bronze god anymore. We do it on the altar of self. There's nothing new under the sun.
No, exactly right. So we're in Isaiah at the moment, and we read the other day, Isaiah chapter 13, verse 18. They will have no mercy on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes will not pity children. Isaiah. How long ago was that written?
That was a long time ago, Mark. Yeah. But how well does that just describe our society?
It's perfect.
It's phenomenal. Yeah.
It's the prophet Isaiah, the guy who prophesies the coming of Jesus, who is admonishing not just Israel, but so many other nations for their sins. And how does that not just encapsulate it perfectly?
Yeah. So, Mark, here's another scripture for you. We were reading from Proverbs the other day in the Bible reading, and this is Proverbs 24 from verse 11. Rescue those who are being taken away to death. Hold back those who are stumbling to the slaughter. If you say, behold, we did not know this, does not he who weighs the heart perceive it? Does not he who keeps watch over your soul know it? And will he not repay man according to his work? And I think there's just a lot of us today who just want to pretend they don't really know that this is going on, or like, that ship sailed. There's no way we can get this. There's no way we can roll this back. We've just gone too far. There's no way that we can actually see our nation abolish this. This is just too difficult a task, and there are other things we've got to fight against. But the one who keeps watch over your soul, he knows it.
That's right. The progressive left might get annoyed though, Pete. Some people might be cross with us and shout at us because they want to carry on killing children.
They might use some hurty words. Yeah.
Maybe they will. You might stand to lose something. Whoa.
Yeah.
Maybe you should. Let's carry on.
This whole idea on the progressive side that it's safe, legal, and rare. This idea that if we allow this, we'll get it down and we'll be sensible and it's not working.
That's gone out the window, though. That's 72% were at home via telemedicine, online or on over the phone appointments, 2 pills taken at home, and yet still, I read in The Guardian relating to these.
Oh, he reads The Guardian. That's a shame. I thought they were solid. I'm just joking, whatever your name is. Slightly-ish. But he read this in The Guardian, so it must be true.
Abortion providers talking about problems of access to contraception and needing to widen access and ease of use of abortion. So there's still this feeling that... But then I also get the logically... people don't have an argument to oppose it.
We are definitely going to get onto that, Pete. Because we've seen a load of outrage about this from pro-choice people. Excuse me, what are you outraged about?
Exactly. Yeah. Mark,
what's your problem?
Are you pro like tattoo rights? Do you think someone over the age of 18 should be able to get a tattoo?
It's their body, their choice, Pete.
Their body, their choice, right? Yeah. Have you got any no problems with it?
I mean, I wouldn't personally get a tattoo, Pete. I don't have any tattoos, but if people want to do that,
neither would I. But if you want to get one, it's your body, your choice, right?
That's right. Your body, your choice. Don't like it, don't get one.
But you couldn't then say, oh, I think everyone should be able to get a tattoo, and then be horrified a few decades down the line when you're looking around and you're like, oh my goodness, 30% of the population is just covered head to toe in tattoos.
Yeah, I didn't mean that many.
Yeah. And you certainly wouldn't be able to hold on to that outrage and still claim that you are pro tattoo rights. You can't have it both ways. Which one is it? Is this something we should celebrate or not?
I genuinely don't understand the argument. We've got some examples that we'll come to later, but it's like, sorry, what did you think was going to happen? Oh, we thought it was going to be safe, legal, and rare. Well, what stupid idiot thought that was going to happen?
Yeah.
If I was alive in 1967, I could have told you that was what was going to happen. Just like I can tell you now on this assisted nonsense that it's going to be a heck of a lot more than a 93-year-old in absolute agony whose faculties have all gone.
Yeah.
Oh, that's who
Thing
it's
is, they
for.
marked
That might be who it's for, but just look over at Canada and see what's happening.
Yeah. Oof, man, it is grim. It is grim.
You might set up something for someone, but someone else is going to take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The law has to apply equally to everyone.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off.
No, well, the gods are angry, aren't they? The gods are angry, and we want good crops next year.
That's right.
So we just need more. We need to sacrifice more.
We need to sacrifice
we
more.
We want more prosperity.
We're going to need more women in those call centres, Pete. Can't just have the men all doing it. We need the women to get to work, so they can't be having babies.
They need to go serve their CEOs.
Babies are just in the way of that.
Yeah.
So if it's inconvenient, we'll sacrifice them to the god of the economy.
Yeah.
Now that's just a modern way of saying sacrificing to Molech for the crops. People think we're so clever. We are so advanced. Oh, these silly Bronze Age people writing their holy texts. What did they know? Go and read it. You'll see what they knew. They had us nailed on.
Mm-hmm.
People look at the figures. Well, the law permits this, and the law will permit it in greater freedom. The decriminalisation of abortion is not quite through all its parliamentary process, but the law does. So where the problem is people aren't able to oppose it because actually, well, we've said this is okay. We've accepted it is okay. And I think that's where there is a need for a voice to speak up and challenge this idea.
I want to just push back on his language a little bit, though. Sorry, this is where it is probably Guardian Easterism is coming in. People aren't able to push back. Like, oh no, they've pushed themselves into a corner and therefore, bless them, they're not able to push back. They could push back if they grew a spine and went,
that's good.
Oh crap, we were wrong, actually. We didn't think this is what was going to happen. Now that it has happened, I now need to entirely rethink everything I thought about this. Mm-hmm. They could do that. They are actually able to do that. They've got a brain.
Yeah. Well,
whether they've got a heart or not, I don't know.
We should have been this outraged about it right at the very beginning when it was just one. We shouldn't have waited until it was... Well, we shouldn't have waited until it was 277,000, and there definitely still aren't enough people outraged enough about it yet. So, how long is it going to be? How many more children are going to be sacrificed before the church finds its voice?
While we sit and stroke our chin and work it out.
Yeah.
That doesn't recognise the value of life before birth. It doesn't. There is no sense of protection for people with disabilities. Before birth, the law has repeatedly rejected that. That actually, we talk about protecting and supporting people with disabilities. That only matters after birth. Before birth, that's just classed as irrelevant.
It's a very important point to pick up on, because even though we are about to basically decriminalise abortion up until birth, technically it will stay in the law that the limit is whatever it is, 20 weeks, 24 weeks, whatever it is. It just will not punish anyone who doesn't. It's stupid. But technically it'll stay there. Now that creates two different classes of people. So at 28 weeks, if you are not disabled, you have rights. At 28 weeks, if you are disabled, you are meat.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Yeah.
You are disposable. No one can do anything about it. You can be discarded. And you don't have any rights.
Yeah, and just tell me how we are any more civilized or sophisticated or developed than the nation that was being described in Isaiah, the book of Isaiah.
Correct.
And there's such huge inconsistency here. And actually the need to speak up. Right? We talk a lot about both lives, the lives of the mother and the life of the baby. And wanting to protect and promote both lives is so important because I think otherwise people don't have the tool to do that. You said the safe, legal and rare. that argument doesn't make sense anymore in a progressive world. So actually, we need to be able to speak in a way that says, actually, we want to value life. We want to value all lives. We want to support mothers. We want to help people, perhaps who have had abortions and need support and care. But we also want to promote life before birth.
That's one of the problems with the progressive story is there's nowhere else to go. It keeps progressing, and I'm using that in inverted commas. We're basically up to birth now. We're decrim up to birth. As you say, disability is not protected. It's just blatant discrimination in our legislation.
It's blatant discrimination, and it's people like one of the most evil women that I've ever seen, Stella Creasy, MP, the Labour MP for, Walthamstow, I think she is, or something. She's all for this stuff. She's the one who pushes this sort of thing. We said it in a previous episode. Evil doesn't always come goose stepping at you with a funny moustache.
Yeah.
Evil can... Saw you goose stepping the other day, Pete. You're pretty good at it. But that's not... people think, oh, well, I would be able to recognise evil. I would stand up against it. Well, what if it comes at you in a middle-aged, mumsy way with a blonde bob and a soft voice? What if evil comes at you in that guise?
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to recognise it? You shall know them by their fruits. Right? What's the fruit of Stella Creasy? Deaths of the unborn. And it'll be more of that. She's the one who took her baby into Parliament. She was the one who was going, I should be able to come into Parliament with my baby. Why shouldn't I be able to do my job with my baby? She's always seen children as being in the way. Right? So she takes her baby into Parliament in the room where she advocates for the slaughter of others.
Well, and that's where you touched on how abortion isn't a standalone issue. Like we were getting at before, it's
nope.
It's part of an entire worldview and belief system whereby we must be God. We think we can be gods. Anything else is dispensable for us to reach that place of assuming God's position.
Correct.
And we're doing away with any distinction, getting as far away from God's design as we can. And abortion is just one aspect of how we are running as fast and hard as we can against God's design for sexuality, the family, what it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman. All of these things are interconnected, and they don't just exist in isolation, but we think they do. And so we end up like piling sin upon sin upon sin to try and mitigate for all of the issues that arise from abortion or from rejecting God's design for men and women. Just piling sin upon sin.
Yep.
Against disabled people, it would never pass now the way it's written. This allowance out, and
it'd absolutely pass the way it's written now.
Sex selective abortion is clearly happening, and the figures say that, and they know it. And then
sex selective abortions are happening.
Talking about, like, where are the progressives talking about that?
Oh,
like all the girls,
get to that.
All the girls that are getting killed
because they're girls.
Because they're girls.
It's happening, and they know it. They know it. They know who's doing it. You know who's doing it. Say it. Say it. Say the words. If you think it's wrong, you shouldn't have sex selective abortion. Why not? Why not? Back it up using your worldview. You can't. It's a house of cards, your worldview.
Yeah.
Deeply evil. And telemedicine has pushed that, so it's now basically unsupervised, because telemedicine means it used to be you had to go see a provider. It used to be properly two doctors way back. Every step and every kind of safeguard has just been diminished. And we're now right up to there's basically nothing left. And still the major providers are saying, we need to keep pushing that more. We need to allow more freedom around this. And the church has been mute. And I think we need to own that and say we have not got on the front foot and thought about this. And we have misunderstood, I think, how fundamental that is to every other dignity argument we want to make. And then this is fundamentally what it is to be made in the image of God and to be known by him from the moment of conception, and then to articulate that well acknowledging the massive pastoral implications of that. Because by running away from, I think one of the things is, oh, well, it's too hard pastorally. And the majority of pastors are males. So they're like, oh, I don't know if I can talk to this. And in doing so, they're also ignoring the massive pastoral challenge that is there.
That's just cowardice.
Yeah.
Well, the majority
of the job.
It's part of your job. The majority of pastors are men. Should be all, but majority of pastors are men. And they don't feel like they can speak to it. Why? Why can't you speak to it? It's a moral evil. What do you want about you can't speak to it? Taking the NT right position. Oh, as a man, I couldn't possibly speak about blah, 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 blah. Unless I speak and have the right opinion, in which case I will say it. And I will be applauded. Why can't you speak to it?
I will make no apology for being a man, saying that abortion is evil, abortion is murder, it should be abolished, it should be criminalized, and we need to repent.
Absolutely right.
We should not be apologizing for... This is the thing, right? Jesus talks about how we should not be ashamed of his words, and we just forget that. We just think it's like, we don't want. I'm not ashamed of you, Jesus. I'm not ashamed of you. It's not just the Jesus who stopped the woman, the adulteress from getting, the adulterous woman from getting stoned, right? It's also the Jesus who offended so many people with his words that they wanted to kill him.
Well, it's the Jesus who said to her, "Go and sin no more."
Yes. Yeah.
He didn't say, "Oh, that was close, wasn't it? Got you off that one."
Yeah.
He said, "Go, sin no more." Direct words. But yeah, you're right. This Jesus who went around calling people a brood of vipers.
Yeah.
Wasn't very Christ-like, was he? Not being very Christian. But why can't men say it? Why shouldn't pastors be saying it? What are you expecting our women to do it? Is that what we're saying? So men in leadership positions are going to say, I can't lead on this point. What kind of leader are you?
It's just an excuse. They don't want anyone to be... don't want anyone to be talking about it.
No. Crazy.
And we're not running away from that, but we've got to get on the front foot in this. And it's one of the reasons we'll talk about this, even though it's maybe awkward and maybe some listeners are like, why are you guys on that again? Like, this is fundamental to human dignity. Our colleagues at Both Lives have got a podcast.
They do have a podcast, and they've written a kind of a summary overview of the recent abortion statistics that have come out. But as a final comment, and particularly for our listeners, and this is based...
Just before she does her final... I think they said Both Lives? Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Go and check that out. I've not checked that out yet, but I'm going to go and have a look at that. We'll have a look. Maybe I'll put a link if I can find it. I'll put a link in the description.
Based off of a conversation, and many that I've had with politicians on the centre left who are of faith, who say that,
I've got to say, at this point, I just don't think that exists. Am I being too harsh? A centre left politician who is of faith.
I really struggle to square.
In this day and age.
Yeah.
In this day and age, I know I'm going to get a lot of heat for saying that. But if you can ably, under the whip, sit in a centre-left party in a parliament in 2026 as a person of faith, I'll give it as much latitude as I can. I just don't understand
that. They've fully subscribed to the narrative, my body, my choice, or actually, the rights of the woman in this place. And they can't conceive that abortion, one, doesn't work for women and most definitely doesn't work for the unborn. There's something about the left, those who sit politically on the left and who love Jesus. It's your voice that needs to lean into this, that both the pro-female argument of how abortion actually doesn't serve women well, how actually abortion for the most vulnerable, as in the life of the unborn, we need those voices within the church to have courage to speak into this place, because at the moment your silence is complicit in it. And that would be one of the challenges that I would love to speak out to that, because we're often accused that, evangelicals on the centre right only care about abortion because they're wanting to control women's bodies. No, actually, they say the injustices that are happening to both women, men and the unborn, and want to lean into that framework of actually what does it mean, both dignity and justice for all lives to be protected from conception to the end of natural death. And so
yeah, I mean, it probably means your resignation, doesn't it? And
well, exactly.
Party. Although the one thing I would say is, even on the right, the majority of people just want to regulate it, right? Okay, it's not proudly celebrating it, but it's nowhere near good enough.
Let's just be clear: there is no right in the UK. There is no mainstream right. So Labour are in power; they're left. They're not centre left; they're far left.
Yeah.
The Conservatives are centre left.
Yeah.
They just are. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're welcome to argue with me. You stick it in the comments if you think I'm wrong. They've gone for every progressive thing. The Conservative and Unionist Party are a left-wing party. I'm fed up of arguing about it. Then you've got the likes of, what's the challenge from the right is reform.
Mm-hmm.
I think they talked about reform in this podcast. I didn't listen to the whole thing. I only listened to this segment. Is Nigel Farage against abortion? Are you messing?
He abstained, didn't he? I think when it was in the House of Commons, I think.
So what do you think abstention is designed to do?
Well,
it's designed to please both sides.
It's a joke.
It's an absolute joke. Richard Tice is he the deputy leader? I think he's only just married the mother of his children, Isabel Oakeshott.
Yeah.
Is that right wing? Is it now? I'm sorry, and I will say to these centre left politicians of faith who love Jesus, fine. Maybe my air quotes are harsh. Prove me wrong. Go on then. Let's see you. Let's see you. Come on. Where are you? You want to be a progressive? Defend the unborn.
Yeah.
You say you love Jesus.
Jesus when he was a fetus.
Jesus when he was, getting the millstone industry underway. Can we abolish millstones in this country? Feels like we're manufacturing quite a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my challenge.
It is one of the biggest injustices in our world, and injustice is always preceded by an act of idolatry where you put somebody or something before God. In that case, it's putting up ourselves and that claim of my body, be it the trans conversation with the Darlington nurses or my body, my choice in the abortion. What is the most fundamental kind of...
Not with vaccines, though, obviously.
Yeah. It's like a sacramental moment in the secular culture, and it jars with, this is my body. That's Jesus' claim at communion. That's why communion is so important as a kind of response to this. This is my body. That's the sacramental moment in the biblical text. And our culture says, no, my body, my choice. And there's an absolute jarring in this moment between those. There is a clash going on, but it's a fundamental spiritual clash, because it's in the sacrament of him giving his body in communion. This is my blood poured out for you. That is our moment of reconciliation with Jesus in these most jarring of moments. And as I hear those cultural slogans that are really riffing and undermining that, I am reminded of that.
He's absolutely nailed that at the end there, by the way.
Yeah.
Forgive me, I don't know who you are, but you've absolutely nailed that.
I lay it down freely. This is my body, my choice. I'm laying it down freely. Right, that's what our Saviour did for us, and he's absolutely right. I think it was a Catholic theologian who talks about how this is the sacrament of our times, of our pagan culture, to use, and this is how sneakily the devil works, right? That he takes those words of Jesus and puts it into a slogan for abortion. It's horrible.
Yep, absolutely right. So we're going to have a little look at the breakdown of these statistics now. So this is righttolife.org.uk. This is their press release about it. This was on the 15th of January. So abortion numbers record high of 299,614, or a few hundred shy of 300,000. group calls for national conversation about our abortion laws. This is a record high in 2023, and this is an estimated number, by the way. The likely number is probably more. Abortion statistics released by the Department of Health and Social Care this morning showed the highest number of abortions ever recorded in England and Wales, with 278,740 taking place in 2023, an increase of 26,618, which is 10.5%. When added to the record 18,242 that took place in Scotland in 2023, and the record 2,632 estimated number of abortions in Northern Ireland, this takes the estimated total number to a record 299,614. So they do a little bit of a breakdown there on England and Wales. There's a rise in repeat abortions for residents of England and Wales, and that's from 102. So in 2022, it was already 102,500 repeat abortions, and that's gone up to 117,165.
Safe, legal, and rare, right?
That's right. That's up 14.1%. And that means the 42% of abortions for residents of England and Wales were repeat abortions. So nearly half of them are people just using it as contraception.
Yeah.
There were 3,205 disability selective abortions, an increase of 81. And that can happen at any time. That's not restricted by timeline.
It's ghastly.
There were 300 late-term abortions for babies with disabilities at 24 weeks and over for residents of England and Wales, an increase of 44. 256 disability selective abortions previously. That's a 17% increase in late-term abortions over 24 weeks. 735 babies with Down syndrome aborted in 2023. 10 late-term. The reason that the ratio there is a lot less, so 10 out of 735 as opposed to whatever else, is because we now test for Down syndrome early, and therefore people can find out that they've got a Down's child early doors and then abort them early doors. There were 40 abortions where the baby had a cleft lip or palate.
That's astonishing.
Are you serious?
It goes back to what you were saying, right, about disability and how, like, all of these terms are only ever growing wider and wider, right? It's the same with the assisted stuff. It's like once you've got it there, everyone will always demand for, what about me? What about me?
5 of those happened late term. So because of a cleft lip or palate, 5 children were murdered after 24 weeks. The figures for cleft lip and palate are likely to be higher. For example, a 2013 review showed 157 babies were aborted with cleft lip and palate in England and Wales between 2006 and 2010. However, the Department of Health and Social Care recorded only 14. Don't know why that is. The Department of Health and Social Care reported that the number of abortions funded by the NHS performed by private abortion providers reached a record high of 225,790. That's an increase of 12.75% and an increase of 421% since 1999. So our abortion laws have become even more extreme, and safeguards have been relaxed, endangering women and allowing abortions on a scale that goes far beyond what most people are comfortable with or what the law was designed to permit. On that, I was reading something recently. I haven't got the exact thing in front of me, so forgive me. But there was something saying some of these abortion like lobby groups are quite happy for complications to happen in some of these home abortion services, because that gives them fodder to lobby for the line to be pushed further along.
Wow.
And they'll use those statistics as evidence to say, wow, it's unsafe. We need to make it more safe by pushing it and making it even more dangerous for unborn children. So allowing abortions on a scale that goes far beyond what most people are comfortable with or what the law was designed to permit. This significant rise in abortions has accompanied the third full year that at-home abortion services have been operating in England and Wales. Since home abortions were introduced, a number of significant problems have arisen. The situation is likely to get worse if the highly controversial Abortion Up to Birth Amendment to the Crime and Policing Bill, which the House of Lords, where there are bishops, is due to consider at committee stage on the 27th of January, becomes law. Peers have tabled amendments to the bill to overturn that clause and reinstate in-person consultations with a medical professional, quote unquote, prior to an abortion taking place at home. Exactly. The rise in the number of abortions also comes as been revealed this month. The government data for the first time suggests that a large number of sex-selective abortions of baby girls, why girls, not boys, have happened in this country, and Britain's largest abortion provider has claimed the practice of sex-selective abortion is not illegal. So I haven't got access to the Times because I don't pay for it. But Charity says it's not illegal to abort babies because they're girls. Organisation criticised over its advice on sex-selective terminations amid fears they are on the rise in Britain's... Say it, progressives. Say it. Britain's Indian community. Whoa. Grapple with that. Polling shows large majorities of women in the UK support a number of changes to abortion laws that would have a positive impact on lowering the number of abortions. 70% of women want the current time limit to be lowered. 91% of women want a ban on sex-selective abortion. Why? Why?
It's incredible, isn't it? It's just...
Why?
It's incredible.
Use only your worldview and tell me, put it in the comments, why sex-selective abortions are immoral and should be illegal.
Mm-hmm.
Use only the arguments that you would use to allow for abortion in the first place.
Yeah.
Polling in the Telegraph shows that 2/3 of women support the reinstatement of in-person appointments, 4% in favour of the status quo, 16% of the public support the current proposals to decriminalise abortion, which gives you some hope. But the problem is the public are not vocal about this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I saw some statistics, Pete, that said that the highest percentages of abortion in the UK are in some of the more liberal, left-leaning cities. We happen to live in one of those.
We do.
One of those is my city of birth, the city I've lived in my entire life and I've never moved away from. The city of Liverpool and the region of Knowsley, which neighbours Liverpool, aborts 40% of pregnancies.
I could not believe that. 40%.
40%. In Knowsley, it's 39%. Now, Knowsley is one of the poorest regions in the whole UK.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Liverpool is not as poor as Knowsley, and we have more abortions than Knowsley. Still, but pretty much the same. Brighton and Hove is the other one that's 40%. There's nowhere else that has 40%. So, I was thinking about this. So, the place where I go to every other week, the stadium that holds 61,000 people now, since the renovations, Anfield Stadium holds 61,000 people. Imagine the Kop stand, the famous Kop, where my family sit, and the Kenny Dalglish stand, which is where I sit. So the Kop is behind the goal, famous stand. The Kenny Dalglish is one of the side stands along the side. The Kop holds 12,500 people. The Kenny Dalglish holds 12,000 people. That's 24,500 people. That is 40% of Anfield Stadium. So 2 whole stands of people murdered before they're born. That's what that actually looks like. That's the visual of everyone who sits in Anfield. If that was unborn people, only the people sat in the main stand and the Annie Road are surviving.
Yeah.
If you ever get to go to Anfield Stadium, year on year, look around that stadium, look at all those people, and that's how many people are dying before they even get born.
Yeah.
We're killing 40%. Think how many more Scousers we could have. I just can't with this anymore. It's such a disgrace.
Funded by our taxes,
funded by our taxes,
and
performed,
enabled by our silence.
performed, we would imagine, in the Liverpool Women's Hospital.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I'm getting annoyed. We're going to have a look at some of the reaction to this, right? Because I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me. So this is Right to Life's original tweet, right? So they did a whole thread about it. It basically covers what we've just looked at in the article that they posted. Now, there was a couple of quote tweets from it. One of them was a guy called Steve Loftus, who I follow on Twitter, who said this: "I'm pro-choice, but this is a third of all pregnancies. Where's the line? Because it feels like we passed it." Now, I've got an issue with so many of those words, I can't even begin to describe it. First of all, I'm pro-choice, but...
If you're pro-choice, there is no line. That's the whole point.
There is no but. What do you mean? I'm pro-choice means you believe that women have the right to choose whether to carry the baby in their womb to term or not. I'm not strawmanning it, right? That's the position.
No.
That's
and not
pro-choice.
just as a collective, but like every individual woman should have that right by virtue of being a
Okay.
woman.
Now he'll go, oh, well, what? Maybe they'll say, well, yes, I'm pro-choice in these circumstances where, and I think the limit should be 12 weeks. Okay, let's even say they would argue for a reduction in the law. What if 300,000 are aborted before 12 weeks?
Yeah. What's the problem?
What's your issue, Steve? Steve's a good guy. I like him. But what's your problem? Where's the line? I don't know, Steve. Where do you think it is? Where should we put it, Steve? You're pro-choice. My line is conception. Where's yours?
Yeah.
And why? Because it feels like... feels like, okay. It feels like we passed it. Okay, does that not give you an issue, Steve? That there is no line. So how can you feel like we've passed it?
Well, and this is it. As soon as you move away from conception being the start of a unique human being, anything beyond that is just going to be arbitrary, totally arbitrary, and you're always going to be moving it.
Well,
especially...
no, there is another hard line you can draw, which is at birth.
Yes.
It's
That's
either
true.
conception
That's
or it's
true.
birth. They're the lines. Everything else is an argument, right? Anything between, but they are the lines, right? Mm-hmm. Pick one. Are you going to pick birth? Don't think you are, Steve. So what are you saying? Mm-hmm. Right. Let's have a little look at some of these replies. So he says, this is a fantastic reply that reflects what I'm saying. As a woman who's availed herself of this choice, so is very much pro-choice, I still think it's important to question any societal shift like this. Okay.
Explain why.
First, the vast majority of pro-choicers become pro-life at a certain point in the pregnancy. Why? The vast majority of pro-lifers are pro-choice under certain circumstances, so 95% of us are far more closely aligned than we think. And from my pro-life aspect, I can see a shift that isn't necessarily healthy. What's the problem? When you have Lily Allen airily talking about how she thinks she's had 5 abortions but can't remember how many, we talked about that before, and women celebrating their abortions, then it's an overcorrection. What's the problem? What's the problem? Abortion doesn't have to be stigmatized. You just stigmatized Lily Allen.
Yeah. 4, 5, 6, who cares?
Oh, but it can also be understood as a serious non-routine procedure that shouldn't be taken lightly. Especially as there's a longitudinal element that's often missed. You might regret an abortion in 20 years, but not 2, and there's sometimes a man involved who desperately wants the child. It's just the risk is so asymmetrical that women have to have the ultimate choice. There's also an increasing evidence of sex-selective abortion, which is pretty horrifying for the future of any society.
Wow,
You don't say! As well as evidence of growing misogyny cultures that we should reject. Cultures. Which ones? Which
Bless him,
cultures?
Steve. This is a fantastic answer. That mirrors
that
how I
mirrors how I feel. The same logic has been tried before. Safe, legal, and rare. Look where that got us. So, if you're pro-abortion, this is what you support. I like this.
Yes.
You realise abortion has claimed almost 4 billion lives in total, more than all wars combined? Is that an overcorrection? If so,
Just let
why?
that sink in.
Yeah.
More than all wars combined.
That's more than half of the current number of people who live on the earth today.
Wow.
If there's a line, that implies the practice is bad from the start and you know it.
Yep.
No, not really. Eating pizza is bad for you, but there's a reasonable amount of pizza you can eat without a negative effect. Women who are in dire circumstances or have been attacked should clearly have the choice. To a lesser extent, I think there should be a choice within a reasonable time frame. For me, this is 16, maybe 12. Based on what?
The pizza, Mark, the pizza.
What we have now is way beyond that. Why? Say why. There should be a choice within a reasonable time frame. Why? You mean you were pro-choice, but now you've started to think about it. No, I'm pro-choice to an extent, and we've passed that line into recklessness. Here's the problem. Is it raining? If one drop of water falls out of the sky, is it raining? Right. If I have one hair on my head, am I bald? How many hairs and I've lost a lot of them. How many hairs do I lose before I'm bald? Right? How many babies are killed before it's too much? What is this definition? If you're going to say each individual woman has an individual choice, then what on earth does numbers have to do with any of it?
Yeah.
And what does her reasoning have to do with any of it? If she says, I want to kill this child because it is a girl and that will bring shame on my family, why should she not have that choice?
100%. And diversity is our strength, so it's
That's
wonderful.
Right. Diversity is our strength, misogyny is bad, but we're going to have a lot more men in this country. It's not my logic, mate, so I don't need to follow it. It makes no sense. And they're not going to say it, by the way. But we know that it's...
No, they can't. They can't.
They can't
Which is why
say
they've
it.
just got to keep. They've just got to keep digging. You know, it doesn't make any sense at all. It's difficult to even follow what he's saying because it's just ridiculous. But he's just got to keep digging the hole. Just got to go deeper and deeper, trying to. You know, we've got to lie to ourselves, haven't we?
I'll say it for you. The facts say British Indian community. We know what sex-selective societies look like because China became one. We know what it looks like when there are 127 men for every 100 women. That's what's coming. That's the combination of every leftist progressive idea is this. Sex-selective abortion on demand is the culmination of all of those progressive policies.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, you sort it. You know our view. Okay, here's how he outlines his position. Ultimately, my position is this. I think women should have a choice up to a point. I think women who have been attacked or in a bad relationship or too young or just not qualified to raise a child should have a choice, while the baby is nothing more than a clump of cells. There's so much wrong with what he's just said. I can't even. We've done podcasts on this before. Go and look at that. But all of that is moronic. I'm less happy with the idea beyond, say, 10 to 12 weeks. It was 10 to 12 now. It was 12 to 16 before. He's obviously thought this through. I don't see a valid reason that you wouldn't know you're pregnant before then. Sorry, is it on the basis that you didn't know you were pregnant? What we have now is way beyond that, with too many women treating it like dentistry, just something you do when you have an annoyance. It's their choice, isn't it? Pro-choice to an extent, and we've passed that line into recklessness. Abortion should not be for women without self-control or the forethought to use contraception. I just... This guy.
I'm pro you being able to choose, but only within these very strict parameters that I decide for you, and which could change.
Fundamentally, Pete, none of these arguments make any sense, right?
No.
They fall apart when you push on them. I don't see how anyone can continue to hold their current position Now, we've seen those statistics that say that most people are unhappy with the way this is. Okay, well, we need a national conversation about it then.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to involve more than us talking about it. It's going to involve more than the church talking about it. And it's going to involve more than Steve Loftus and Julia Hartley-Brewer and whoever else going, this seems a bit much.
Yeah. I agree, but it does start with, I think it starts with the church talking about it.
Of course it does.
It starts there, and I'm usually I'm an optimist. However, it's only going to get worse, and we actually don't know how bad it is, right? Because the statistics are 2 years delayed, 3 years delayed. In all reality, it's probably worse than we even realize. And so the church has to wake up, and we have to find our prophetic voice, and we have to see that there is nothing new under the sun. This is the same trick from the same playbook. The devil's still just using the same tactics, and it's actually going to be the same thing that brings breakthrough. It's going to be God using his church, working through the power of the Holy Spirit to bring about change in the world, and proclaiming a bold gospel that isn't avoiding any of the controversial aspects of it, and isn't removing the offense of the gospel. We've got to find our voice again. There is so much at stake here.
Yeah, it's funny that you're normally an optimist and maybe a pessimist. I'm the exact opposite. I am normally not an optimist at all. But I feel like it's possible that this does actually shift. What I have in my head is slavery was just a part of American society at one point, and that was overturned by the actions of Christians.
Yeah.
Often against other Christians, sadly, which is what we're experiencing today again. I think that atrocious injustice we now look back on with horror, and we look back on it and go, how could those people have possibly believed that or thought that or lived amongst it? Mm-hmm. Well, if you've ever thought that, oh, well, if I'd have lived in the American South back then, I would have stood up to it. If I lived in Germany in 1930, whatever, 40, whatever, I would have said something. Would you? What are you saying now about abortion?
Yeah.
Prove it. Prove that you would have been one of those people standing up to slavery, standing up to the Holocaust. Prove it. Show it. Yeah. There's a Holocaust happening now.
Absolutely.
Show it.
Yeah.
I don't believe you. So, look, I believe people are absolutely persuadable on this. It's horrific. It's horrible. I think we just need to have the conversation again. We need to get people's eyes open again. We need to get their ears open again. Yeah. We need to show that Stella Creasy is an evil woman. We need to show that this is a disgraceful part of our society that we have just allowed to happen. And I hope that my grandchildren look back on our society and read their school textbooks in the same way that we read the textbooks about slavery.
Yeah. Can you believe they used to do this?
How could you have possibly
Can you believe that for decades the church was just too, they were just worried about upsetting the slave owners. But
4 billion people died in the womb.
Yeah.
4 billion people died in the womb. How could the church, how could society have let that happen? Oh, well, it happened. Mm-hmm. There were voices against it, but not enough.
Yeah.
Until the tide turns. Lord, have mercy on our nation.
Amen.
That's all I can say. Right, we're going to leave it there for this week. Look, this is a contentious topic. We've talked about it a few times, and the comments do get a bit touchy, but it's fine. Leave your comments down below. We'd love to hear. Pro, anti, we want to hear it. Just let us know in the comments what you think. Please do give this video a nice big thumbs up for us. Like this video, it really does help us out, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are nearly at 100 subscribers. We would love to hit that as soon as possible. We're so close. We're nearly there. Thank you so much for watching. Realize this is a long podcast, and for you giving us your time, we really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you in the next one.